I'm Max Britton. This is my final project for Computational Thinking. For the project, I decided to use the classics dataset. Using the classics dataset, I hope to answer the following question. My first question is, what is the distribution of years in which books were published? And by answering this question, I can find out if more books were published in certain time periods than others, or if they are distributed evenly across time. My second question is, what is the relationship between book rank and the number of downloads? My guess is there will be a negative relationship. The lower the rank number, the more that book will have been downloaded, most likely because that book is more popular. And my third question is, how has the number of difficult words in all books changed over time? This will let me find out, on the basis of the number of difficult words per book, if books have gotten more difficult to read over time, less difficult, or if there's been no change at all. So there are a few specific properties of the classics dataset that are necessary to answer the questions. For question 1, we need to know the years that each book was published. For question 2, we need to know the rank for each book and the number of times each book has been downloaded. And for the third question, we need to know the number of difficult words in each book and also when each book was published. So the classics dataset does have a few limitations that may prevent me from getting entirely accurate answers to my questions. For example, the dataset only includes books from before the year 2000, which means that there's no information on books that are published in the 21st century. Which means, therefore, a dataset is limited in scope. Some of the keys that are included in the various dictionary have no explanation as to what they mean, such as polarity and smog index. And also, some of the charts that are created based on the dataset may be able to answer the questions, but it's possible they don't explain why those answers are what they are. So the data structure is relatively complex. The classics dataset is a massive dictionary full of about 1,000 separate lists, and each list represents one book that's divided into 3 dictionaries: bibliography, metadata, and metrics. Metadata lists quantitative measures, such as the number of times a book has been downloaded from the internet and how many difficult words are in each book, which are 2 things that we need to answer the questions. Metrics lists data like the type of subjects that a book might fall under, such as vampire fiction. Bibliography lists data about, but not limited to, the author, the title, and the year the book was published, which is definitely very important when we're answering these questions. So this is a visualization of the data structure. You have a list of book, which is a list, which is divided up into 3 dictionaries: bibliography, metadata, and metrics. So under bibliography, you might find things like author, which is a dictionary, and then under that you'll find several strings like name, like Jane Austen, and also you might find other dictionaries under bibliography like publication, which will list strings such as title. Metadata is another dictionary with several integers, such as number of times it's been downloaded. And metrics, again, is also a dictionary with values such as difficulty and subjects. So, question 1 was, what is the distribution of years in which books were published? Well, the answer is most books in the dataset were published during the mid to late 20th century. So as we can see from the visualization, the rectangle representing the time from 1950 to 2000 is definitely the largest. You have some books that were published in other time periods, but by far the biggest one is from 1950 to 2000. So my second question was, what is the relationship between book rank and the number of downloads? Well, there's a negative correlation, just like I predicted, between book rank and the number of downloads. So as your rank increases, the number of downloads decrease, because you have to remember that if you're number one, you're going to be really popular, and then from there the popularity decreases, so obviously the number of downloads would decrease. We don't know that for sure based on the chart alone, but that's just my guess. Question 3 was, how has the number of difficult words in all books changed over time? Well, based on this visualization, the number has remained largely the same. There have been a few fluctuations from time to time. Some of the most notable fluctuations are huge increases that appear around 230, 260, and 900, which are years. So, based on the preceding visualizations, the following can be inferred. So most books were published in the mid to late 20th century. Again, this could probably be a result of the selection of books of the dataset, since the dataset is mainly limited to books published before the 21st century. It's likely that maybe the dataset as a whole could be mainly only books published in the mid to late 20th century, which could be a reason why the visualization is the way it is. We don't know for sure. This is another inference. We don't know this for sure, but based on the second visualization, the lower a book is ranked, the more it's downloaded. Again, since the most popular book would likely be ranked number one. And generally speaking, the number of difficult words per book has remained largely unchanged over time, which is around 30,000, with a few exceptions where the numbers increase sharply. So the answers have a number of social implications that could occur. While all these books are classics, which is why the data set is what it is, so book lovers, bibliophiles, they might be interested in them for their literary value, and they might be interested in this kind of data. Historians who are studying trends in literature might want to take advantage of these answers, and also publishers may be able to use this information to determine which books are the most popular and may result in higher profits if they publish them.